Well, this is your host, and let's talk about what's going on here. Now, we've all noticed that Special Prosecutor Pam Bondi has been relentless in her pursuit of justice. However, nowhere was this more evident than right here in the courtroom when she turned loose and went after Sidney Powell. And I think that she did something that left Sidney Roberts completely breathless. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This happened right here during the trial. And here's what happened. So you can see here, Judge McAfee is just looking down like he's not even interested in what's going on. He's probably thinking, okay, let's just get through this because I want to go home. But Pam Bondi is not letting that happen. She is firing rapid-fire questions at Sidney Roberts. And you can see here that Sidney Roberts is kind of leaning back, which if you've watched my videos, I've talked about, you don't lean back in a courtroom like that. You lean forward. You got to be engaged. You got to look that person in the eye and you got to come back with some type of objection or answer, right? But instead, he's leaning back. He's kind of sitting there and he's like, well, now. And you can see right here that Pam Bondi is just burying him with question after question after question. She's really letting him have it. And you can see right here, she's like, so. And then the next one, so. And then she's gonna ask him another question and you're gonna see right here, so. And she's going so fast. There's two things happening here. No. One, Roberts is clearly overwhelmed by the pace of the questions that are being asked. He's not able to keep up with them. He doesn't know what's going on. He's not on top of his game. And no. Two, if you're watching this and you're not an attorney, it might seem like these are pretty basic questions. Why is he having trouble answering these questions? But trust me, there's a strategy to this. There's a reason that she's asking these questions in this particular order. And she's laying a legal predicate for other questions that she's eventually gonna ask. So what seems like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? It's all part of a big strategy. Look how frustrated Roberts is getting right here. You can see right here, she's not letting up. She's just going at him. And then she's gonna do this right here. Lay another one on him. And you can see right here, Roberts is starting to get really uncomfortable with this. And again, this is part of the strategy. You saw earlier in the day that Roberts was laughing and joking and talking and having a good time. But now you're seeing that he is definitely feeling the pressure. And then what happens next is amazing. So you can see right here, Roberts is finally going to try to object to something. But before he does, Pam Bondi is going to jump in and say, hold on a second. She's going to tell him, no, you can't do that yet. You got to explain this first. She's going to tell him, no, you can't do that until you finish answering my question. And then she's going to jump in and say, never mind. I'll rephrase my question. And then she's going to rephrase the question and she's going to drive home the point. And you can see right here, he's like, ho. But she's like, no, you got to do this. He's like, ho. But she's like, no, you got to finish answering my question first, and then I'll let you do that. But you got to finish answering my question first. And then she's gonna get another one in. And this one's gonna absolutely crush him. And you can see right here, Roberts is just devastated by this. He's just, totally crushed by the fact that he can't get a word in edgewise. And now he knows that he's in trouble because he realizes that she's laying a legal predicate here for a big legal ruling. If I could just jump in for a second, sometimes people will email me and they'll say, you make this look easy. How can I get better? I want to get better. Well, when you have a coach, you work with that coach. You go over the issues. You go over the breakdowns. But at the end of the day, when you step into that courtroom, it's a different animal. You have to be able to think on your feet. You have to be able to react. And most importantly, you have to be able to seize the moment. Because sometimes things happen in the courtroom that you never would have dreamed of. And if you're not ready for those moments, if you're not able to take advantage of those moments, then you could lose everything. And that's what's happening here with Sydney Roberts. And this is why I tell people that, it's one thing to watch from the sidelines. It's a whole other thing to actually participate in the activity. When you're watching from the sidelines, it looks easy. But when you're in the game, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of different things that you have to consider. And that's what's happening here with Sydney Roberts. So let me show you what happens next. This is such a great moment right here. Everybody in the courtroom is watching, and they're like, oh no, Roberts is in trouble. Even the judge is like, what's going on here? What's going on? And that's when Sydney Roberts is going to finally push his luck too far. And that's when Pam Bondi is going to pounce, and she's going to nail him with a legal objection that he will never forget. And it's going to be one of those moments that just absolutely crushes him. And let me show you what I'm talking about right here. So you can see right here, Pam Bondi has the last word. She gets the final word. And she's just absolutely crushing him with this question right here. And then he's going to try to interject. But she's like, no, you gotta wait till I finish. And then he's gonna try to interject again. And this time she's like, nope, you're done. And she's gonna stand up. She's gonna announce, I have nothing further. Everybody's gonna be stunned silent. They're like, oh, what just happened? And that's when Judge McCaffrey is gonna look down. He's gonna see that everybody's quiet. And he's gonna say, all right, we're gonna take a break. And this is what made the news. The media said, Bondi goes after Powell with a tactical sprint. And you can see right here, Bondi questioned Powell for about 30 minutes. And during that time, she really went after Sydney Roberts. And she basically showed no mercy. She just kept coming. And eventually he just kind of folded like the cheap suit that he is. And here's the thing. As I've always said, when you're dealing with people who are used to a certain lifestyle, when you're dealing with people who are used to a certain type of life, when you're dealing with people who are used to getting their way, when you're dealing with people who are used to intimidating others, when you're dealing with people who are used to bullying others, they don't respond to kindness. They don't respond to patience. They only respond to power. And that's what Pam Bondi showed today. She showed that she is a woman who is not going to be intimidated. She is a woman who is not going to be scared. She is a woman who is not going to back down. And that's exactly what we need in a prosecutor. That's exactly what we need in a lawyer. That's exactly what we need in a human being. I don't know if you've ever been around somebody who's just naturally intimidating. When they walk into a room, you feel it. When they speak, you listen. When they say something, you pay attention. And that's what Pam Bondi is. And that's why she was able to shut Sydney Roberts down today. And that's why she was able to make him quit. That's why she was able to make him give up. That's why she was able to make him tap out. That's why she was able to make him go away. And then you can see right here, the media talked about, the speed that she questioned at. And, it's true. She questioned him for 30 minutes. But at the end of the day, what matters is not the time that you question somebody. What matters is the results that you get. And Pam Bondi got the results that she wanted. She absolutely embarrassed Sydney Roberts in front of his peers. And that is something that he will never forget. And that is something that will follow him for the rest of his life. Now, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to hear from one of our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to hear from some more of you guys. We're going to hear some of your comments. We're going to hear some of your thoughts. And we're going to start that conversation going. So if you have something that you want to add to the conversation, please post it in the comments. And if you haven't already done so, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And until next time, remember, freedom is scary. Deal with it. I'll see you on the next one.